down the hall and around the bend downstairs in the lounge. So that'll be at the very end of the day here when we're wrapping up cocktails, and you can continue networking there as well. I'm going to turn it back over to Tanya and Michael. Tanya?
Thanks, John. All right. Hi, Michael.
How are you?
This is Michael Sprague. He's the North American Director of the Lincoln Motor Company. And we're going to have a fireside chat. And you can just pretend there's a fire right here. You just got to use your marketing imagination. So this is our fireside chat. Well,
can I just say, first of all, I love those ads.
Did you?
Those were fantastic. Although I'm a little fearful that in 15 or 20 years, hopefully you may be showing some of the work that we're doing at Lincoln, but they were phenomenal. Great way to start the event.
I love the old ads. I mean, we've come a long ways, but then have we really?
We really haven't, right? Exactly.
We're still using all those superlatives, and
exactly.
Everybody
Bigger,
thinks what they
longer,
have is the
all
best.
new. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
So, well, thank you for joining me today. I know you guys have had some really interesting stuff happening.
Yep.
And I thought we would start out our talk before we get started chatting with a video, which actually was the most viewed TV spot in October, according to iSpot TV, with 1.3 billion, yes, billion impressions. It's from Hudson Rouge for the 2020 Lincoln Aviator, and it's called Fresh Take on Movement. So, Ryan, could you please play the video?
Performance comes in lots of flavors. There's the amped up, overtuned feeding frenzy of sheet metal kind. And then there's performance that just leaves you feeling better as a result. That's the kind Lincoln's about.
Thank you.
I have to be honest, I never get tired of Matthew McConaughey. And I don't have to be unbiased for a minute because we actually do awards every year at our New York show, which you all should come to. And last year, Hudson Rouge got an award for the Michael McConaughey work because it's just phenomenal. I mean, like it or hate it, people talk about it and they watch it, and you got to wait and see what he's going to say because you really never know.
And that's so important. People like it or hate it, and we see both. But the fact is that we're in the conversation, and that's what it's really all about.
Right.
And to your point, he skews more towards 35 plus women and men. They really like him. The 35 younger don't really connect with him. So
it's
we've
funny
got some
that
work
I
to do
connect
there.
with him, but anyway. So according to Crimson Hexagon, a digital marketing company from Boston, nearly 18,000 tweets mentioned Matthew and Lincoln immediately after the actor first appeared in the Lincoln commercials in 2014. And I'm really not sure Lincoln could have anticipated that kind of buzz and that Matthew would still be continuing to create that much interest 5 years later. But he is.
He really is. He's been a phenomenal ambassador for the brand. And I'm not sure if people are aware, he's actually expanding his career. He's now a professor of film studies at the University of Texas at Austin, which is his alma mater. So hopefully he's talking about the work that he's done with the Lincoln brand in those classes.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So the theme of our conversation today is knowing your customers, even in today's dynamic environment. And so if you could start us out by telling us what have Lincoln and Ford done to better know and understand your customers?
Sure. So over the last couple of years, we've really focused or really studied and become students of human-centered design. And this is not just within marketing and sales and the product marketing. This is across the entire company, focusing on the customer. So it's understanding how to ask the questions and observing and probing and studying customers in all sorts of environments, trying to find the moments that matter for those customers in the relationship of every day, but also the relationship that they have with their vehicle. So that has then led us to kind of reposition the Lincoln brand and find our unique space in this ultra-competitive marketplace, which we kind of had a nod to in the first part of the Matthew aviator spot, where you've got all of these vehicles, and I don't know if anybody picked up on the little shark fins that are in there to kind of show that it's a shark-infested waters there in the premium SUV space, and then out comes the aviator. But so we've defined our product and design strategy around this idea of quiet flight, and there are 4 tenets to quiet flight, and that's beauty, human, gliding, and sanctuary. From a beauty standpoint, we've got to have absolutely beautiful, stunning, emotionally connected vehicles that people, as soon as they see them, they're attracted to them. Gliding, we want our customers to feel like they're gliding along. They're not rocket ships. Like here in the Matthew spot, you can just see that it's gliding along this runway type of space here. Human, we want to make sure that the technologies that we're putting into our vehicles are intuitive. It's not technology for technology's sake, but it's technologies that are relevant today. And then from a sanctuary standpoint, we're creating sanctuary-like cabins. So when you get into our vehicles, you feel the quality and the craftsmanship. You experience the Revel audio system. You experience the massage seats, the great leathers. And speaking of the massaging seats, one of the insights that we learned from our Navigator customers was that they were really irritated when they turned the massage seats on, they turned off after 10 minutes. Now really, who wouldn't that make you mad as well? So when the Aviator came out, we took that out. So the Aviator massage seats are always on because people told us, I want my massage seats to always be on. So from a product standpoint, it's quiet flight. From a services standpoint, it's all about the Lincoln way, and that's creating warm, humid, and personally crafted experiences for our customers, recognizing that time, everybody needs more time, and we're trying to create services that give time back to our customers. So that's kind of what we've learned over the last couple of years using the human-centered design approach.
I'm definitely with the customers. The massage should never, ever, ever turn off.
Exactly.
And I'm one of those people who will sit in my driveway, before I go into the house, just enjoying my car for a minute. Because when you're driving, you can't always enjoy it as much. So it is my sanctuary.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. So my next question, I think you've actually kind of already answered it, is how does Lincoln's marketing reflect your learnings? And you talked about the tenets. Is there anything else you'd want to add?
Yeah, sure. So one of the other things that we've learned, so I'm not sure if many people know, the Lincoln brand has been around for 98 years. So you'd think there'd be a lot of awareness for the brand, but in a lot of places there isn't. So what we've learned is we need to go out and kind of amplify what the Lincoln brand stands for and showcase our products. And one of the ways to do that we're spending a lot of time in is in the experiential space. So we've partnered with hotels like here in LA, the Dream Hotel, or if you're from New York, Mr. C's in the South Seaport area. So people who are staying there can have the use of a Lincoln product while they're there, because we're trying to show up in unexpected places so people can experience the vehicles. They see it and they say, what is that? And then they can go and drive it. We're also testing what we call Lincoln Experience Centers. We've got one in Frisco, Texas at the Star, for those of you who are from the Dallas area. And then we've got one here in Newport Beach down at Fashion Island. So if they're not dealerships, they're not places where you can actually buy a vehicle, but you can actually go and test drive it. You can go and have a coffee. You can come back as often as you want. There's no pressure to buy the vehicle. You then, once you figure out you want to buy the Lincoln, then you go to the dealership. We found on average, customers are coming back 6 to 7 times to these Lincoln Experience Centers before they actually go to the dealership. They really want to make sure that this is the right vehicle for them. And we just finished an Aviator 10-city tour where we partnered with a lot of social media influencers, went out, we wined and dined them because we know their passion points are food and travel and music, and then we gave them the vehicle, and then they have been going out and sharing their experiences of the Aviator with their customers. So a lesson learned from human-centered design is that we've got to go out and get our vehicles people into our vehicles.
I wrote about one of those, the influencers in New York and the sleep
Yes.
video and the music and stuff. And
Yep.
you want to talk a little bit about that one?
So in terms of, we've got the Embrace vehicle. So when you come up to a vehicle, an Aviator or Navigator, the vehicle actually settles down, so then you have greater ingress and egress. In terms of the sleep, so there was an issue where there was a malfunction in our new Lincoln Way app where it was actually causing the vehicle to go into a sleep mode, which helps reduce the battery life. We fixed that, and that's gotten better, so that was taken care of.
Again, listening to your customers
Exactly.
and keeping the vehicles how they need them to be.
Yeah.
So you actually, I'd forgotten that before you were at Lincoln, you were at another automaker, and then before
Which
that,
will remain nameless.
Yeah, we'll just not talk about them. But you were at Lincoln for a long time before that, so
Correct.
you've got a really long history with the company, and can sort of look back over the years and see how things have changed. And how has marketing to potential customers and staying connected to current customers changed?
Yeah, great question. So we look at, we kind of have three buckets of customers. We have our Lincoln loyalists, and from a loyalty standpoint, we rank number 3 behind Mercedes and BMW. We're at about 56% loyalty. The industry in the premium space is about 51%. So we are continuing to maintain our customer base, and that's going back to human-centered design, spending a lot of time with them to understand what the customer journey looks like from the moment they first become interested in the brand all the way through purchase, but then not stopping at purchase, then continuing through the service experiences as well. Because so many times in the past, we kind of sell the vehicle and then wait for them to come back in 3 years or 5 years or whatever. So the Lincoln loyalists, a lot of one-on-one communication with in-vehicle modems. We can then send over-the-air updates to them if we've got software updates, so we can connect with them. With our Lincoln Way app, we can communicate with them as well that way. We've got the baby boomer generation, which kind of grew up with the Lincoln brand. In fact, in 1999, I think, the Lincoln brand was the #1 luxury brand here in the United States. Only 20 years ago. So we kind of lost our way. So the baby boomers moved on and went to the Europeans or to the Japanese luxury brands. So with our all-new SUV lineup, we've got a great opportunity to go back and reconnect with them and talk about being an authentic American luxury brand. So we're doing that in a lot of in more traditional ways, like with big broadcast, with Matthew McConaughey, our brand ambassador, with Serena Williams as well, who's a great brand ambassador for us. And then there's the millennial generation. The millennial generation has no idea who we are. So that's both a good thing and a bad thing. So it's also the challenge to us as marketers is how do we quickly raise awareness for the brand with the millennials. So we are tapping into kind of their passion points, which is similar to ours: music, travel, food, things along those lines.
It's kind of nice to have a blank canvas with the millennials, you know.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with starting from scratch.
Exactly.
So you talked a little bit about your competitors, the Germans and the Japanese, and I think you said Europeans. So are all automakers facing the same dilemmas, or do luxury automakers have different pain points?
That's a great question. And I would have answered that question differently yesterday than I would today, because this morning when I was coming down from the elevator stopped, and this young man comes on, and he's wheeling in his Razor scooter. And he's got his backpack on, and I looked at him, and I looked at the scooter, and it's kind of a more heavy-duty Razor scooter. It's got thicker wheels, and he had taped on his water bottle and stuff. And I looked at him, and I said, "Do you always travel with that?" He's like, yeah, when I come to a city like LA or New York, I just take my scooter, and that way I can get from point A to point B much quicker. I don't have to worry about renting a car or using Uber or Lyft or any other means of transportation.
God forbid, public transportation.
Public transportation,
yeah.
exactly. So it's just like, we as auto manufacturers need to continue to be reminded that the landscape is changing dramatically. And there is a lot more competition in terms of transportation modes out there, scooters being one of them. But in terms of brands and the competition, you know, everybody knows in automotive, it comes down to the product. If you have great product and really great marketing, creative marketing behind it, you can really break through. And that's what customers really love. And also services as well. And in our case, as I mentioned earlier, we're focusing on services, again, trying to give people time back. We've developed a service that we call Pickup and Delivery. So you can go online through our Lincoln Way app and schedule your service appointment. Dealer comes and picks it up, gives you a loaner car, takes it back, gets it serviced, then brings it back once it's fixed. So far this year, we've had 250,000 people take advantage of this pickup and delivery service. In the month of October, 19,000 people went onto our app, scheduled the appointment, had somebody come and pick it up. They love this because we're giving them time back. They don't have to go through the typical service experience. So
which is time consuming, you know?
And that's exactly the point, is we're trying to figure out ways to give people time back.
So I have to say, I love numbers and I love demographics, and I know psychographics have become more important in some ways. But I'm curious, who are Lincoln's current customers, and then where do you see the room to grow? Obviously, you mentioned the millennials.
Yeah, so just from a number standpoint, the average age of the Lincoln buyer is 64 years old. The average age of the premium buyer is 57, so not that much of a difference. Our Navigator buyers, 62% of them are under the age of 54. Aviator, 49% are under the age of 54. So we've got vehicles that are bringing our age down, but then we also have some vehicles in our portfolio that are pulling the age up. So I think as we introduce more vehicles, we will be able to bring that age down. But in terms of the millennials, so we're getting ready to launch, or we're launching right now, the all-new Corsair. And it is targeted at a millennial customer who is looking to move up into the luxury space. They've been working really hard, they want to reward themselves, and this is a vehicle that we think will really resonate with them. It's in the small premium utility space. So to go to market, we had to figure out a way, what are their passion points? And we talked about music being one of them. So we've developed a campaign called Chart Your Course. And the idea behind it is we are trying to find the next big singer-songwriter artist. So it's a digital first initiative where a street performer or somebody that loves to sing in the shower or whatever, they can go create an original song. They can go online and create a video of them performing that, upload it to chartyourcourse.com, and then we had a panel of judges to call it down to 4 finalists. So to help promote this, we used Matthew McConaughey. We did not show him in person. We used his voice. He helped us launch it. We also partnered with Jon Batiste, who is one of the most innovative and creative musicians in the market today. So he helped really amplify this campaign. And then we're partnering with Harman Kardon, the Rebel brand, and also Universal Music Group to help bring the credibility behind it and the expertise. Because one of these people is then going to, well, first let me back up. We're creating 4 ads. They'll be in the Grammys in the end of January. And then the consumers will then vote for the winner. That winner will then go on and be able to go to Capitol Records and possibly cut their demo. They're going to have access to Jon Batiste and other musicians and producers to basically help take them from here to there. So our hope is maybe we will find the next Jon Batiste. In fact, we have a video here to kind of show how we announced it.
We all know someone who has more talent than they realize, but just needs a little push or the right connections. Hey, maybe it's even you. It could be the roommate who sings in the shower, or even the street performer with an original song. With the help of Lincoln and the all-new Corsair, we're gonna help that talent chart their course with the world's best producers and a recording session at the world-famous Capitol Studios. The journey starts here, so submit your original song to chartyourcourse.com, and you could be the part of an extraordinary musical journey.
So real quick, we thought we would have about 500 submissions. And for those of you that wanted to quickly submit a video, sorry, it's closed. Because I know we've got some aspiring singer-songwriters out there. We thought we'd have about 500 submissions. We had 1,658. So what we know with the millennials, they love brands that are into these authentic stories and storytelling, and the stories that these people had because we asked them to tell us about their journey. It's absolutely amazing, the stories that some of our finalists have in terms of the journey that they've been on. So it's going to be really cool.
It's very exciting, and I think I just saw this morning for the first time, so I think it's pretty hot news. Actually.
Yeah, we didn't do a press release on it. We
Right.
wanted to be more organic and use our ambassadors like Matthew and Jon Batiste to help tell that story, because we know millennials don't want to be marketed to.
Right.
They want to discover things, and that's what we saw.
That's very key with that audience.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier before we got up here about technology, and you mentioned the seats and the massage, and Lincoln has some of the most technologically advanced products on the market, but is it hard to market technology?
I'd say yes and no. No, there are safety technologies like autonomous emergency braking, where you're driving along the road, you're distracted, car stops in front of you, vehicle stops. Pretty easy. Same with lane departure. You're driving along the road, car stops, or you start to weave, the car pulls you back over. Those are cause and effect. Those are pretty easy. We've developed a new technology called phone as a key. So how many people have lost their car keys as they're running out for a meeting, or they're late to pick up their child and they're like, where are my keys? Where are my keys? A couple hands have gone up, exactly. But you probably had your phone with you as you're frantically looking for your key. So the new technology that we've adopted and we've launched on Aviator and Corsair is what we call phone as the key. So you no longer need your key fob to access and power up your vehicle and drive away. It's all done through the phone. So you buy your new Aviator, you pair your phone to the car, you can put the key fob away, you walk up to the vehicle, get in, off you go. If you lose your phone, you can still get into the vehicle. We've got a secure way to get in. You punch in a code and you can still drive off without the key fob and the phone. So we've got some backup things. So for us, that's one that we're still kind of working through. How do you tell that story? Because for a lot of people, it's like, what do you mean I can drive my car without my key? That's kind of hard. So we're working through that. A good thing with digital, you can do long form, and so you can tell the story in a more meaningful way and really show how the technology works. So yes and no, it depends on the technology.
Well, and you guys have gotten really creative. I mean, the campaign with the pool, Matthew
yeah.
playing pool and showing how it correlates with what your vehicle can do.
Yeah.
And I think everybody has played pool, so you can sort of remember and then correlate it to the vehicle.
Yeah.
So I think we've pretty much covered everything. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
No, I think it's a reminder. The Lincoln brand is on this transformative journey, and it started a few years ago, and we're going to continue. We're constantly testing and iterating, and that's so important for all of us as marketers, is to continue to test and iterate and innovate. don't give up on that. Don't lose that essence as marketers. And there's so many things out there to try, which is really exciting. I'm personally really excited about 5G technology and what it's going to do from a vehicle standpoint. Because if you think what you'll be able to listen to or watch in the vehicle, I think is going to be just amazing. That in-vehicle experience is going to be incredible. And I think we as a brand, because we're focusing on that in-vehicle sanctuary-like experience, I think it's going to be really cool for us.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, I think we've got a couple of minutes for questions from the audience. If we've got a couple folks with microphones, so if you've got a question, go ahead and raise your hand. And if you want Michael to expand on anything he said, or if you want to...
They just want to eat.
Don't be shy.
They just want to eat. They're like, let's get to the food.
Well, we've had plenty... Oh, do we have one over here?
Did I see a hand? No.
Yeah, right
Oh,
there.
here we go. Hold on.
He's the guy I paid earlier.
So if you don't mind, just let us know who you are. Oh, over here. Let us know who you are and where you're from.
Sure. John Janice from Tag Worldwide. So a question about the brand experiences that you talked about where consumers are going 6 or 7 times and then to dealership. How are you connecting that experience with then hopefully the buying occasion at the dealership?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have we've created what we're calling the Lincoln Institute, where we are bringing dealers into, in some case, Frisco or Newport Beach, and educating them on the processes that we are establishing to make the whole sales and service experience effortless, so that there is a seamless transition from what they experienced at the experience centers into the dealerships. We also know that luxury customers don't want to buy in a mass market branded facility. So as the Lincoln brand, in many cases, it's also tied into the Ford brand. So we're now separating or working with our dealers to separate their showrooms so that our Lincoln buyers can have a true luxury experience. And along those lines, they're investing in new facilities. We call them vitrine facilities, which means is French for jeweled glass box. And so we're creating these new structures and creating the processes in place to create a true luxury experience that they experienced when they were at some of these experience centers.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's all about connecting
Right,
everything. Yeah.
right.
We've got another one back here, Tanya.
Okay.
Stephen Farr Jones, ADM Marketing. There's about 158 million households in America. At the very top level of the funnel, what tools or what methodology are you using to get down to the actual few million that you actually want to sell to?
Well, if I told you, then I would be revealing our state secrets.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. Because if I don't have that tool, I think you're going to come up and say, hey, have I got the tool for you? But yeah, we employ a lot of different things. Again, the human-centered design approach, it's going out and talking to customers. That is where it all begins. We actually are doing a pilot with a company called EDO, which gives us insights in terms of how our marketing is performing in broadcast and how consumers are then going to their phones and responding to it. So that's helping us to drill down and make some real-time changes in terms of the creative. We've got a whole organization built over the last couple of years built around data analytics. So we are constantly looking at the data and figuring out how to find those customers in the marketplace.
You like numbers as much as I do. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my kids. I'm like, it's math.
It's math.
all about the math.
Don't be afraid of math.
Don't be afraid of it.
Yes. I think we've got one more question.
Hi, Ahmed Iqbal from Twitter. Question around cultural relevance. How do you perceive the value of cultural relevance for your brand, and how would you, I guess, say Lincoln's prepared itself to be reactive in everyday conversation, and then if there is a measurement to see how you would gain or glean success in your cultural relevance, what would you say it would be?
Can you define how are you talking about cultural relevance?
Conversation, everyday conversation, how a brand is mentioned, how a brand is talked about, sentiment, but a little deeper than just the generic top line metrics, brand health metrics, but more so like the everyday conversation.
Yeah, so we have a team of people that basically are monitoring the social environment, and that's on our ad agency side, media side, our customer experience team. Everybody is looking to see what people are talking about Lincoln, and making sure that it's all resonating or tying back to what we are trying to convey from a messaging standpoint. And that's, again, from a product and design standpoint, talking about Quiet Flight. And from a services standpoint, it's about the personally crafted, warm, and uplifting experiences that create an effortless experience for you. So, again, it goes back to the data. We're working with Twitter, we're working with Facebook, we're working with everybody, not everybody, because we can't, but we're working with the big players to help us understand and make sure that our messages are coming through, making sure we're being relevant today.
I think we have time for one last question before lunch.
Maria. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm from Vox Media. I just have a question. A lot of the OEMs right now, especially the luxury ones, are coming out with electric vehicles. What is your strategy on that? I know Lincoln is, I read a lot about it, but I just want to hear from you.
Yeah, great. So the all-new Aviator has a plug-in hybrid. That's the vehicle that's featured, and that's why at the very end we said it has 496 horsepower to show that you can have electrification and you can also have the power and the performance, because those are things that people don't necessarily associate with electric. And then the Corsair, which is just coming into market now. Yesterday we actually revealed the Corsair plug-in hybrid electric vehicle as well. We've publicly stated that the future of Lincoln is built around electrification. You can, as you mentioned, other brands are doing the same thing. We haven't said much more beyond that because we're trying to launch Aviator and Corsair, but there'll be more to the story. We see that from a luxury standpoint where the future is.
Awesome.
Really appreciate the opportunity being here. It was great fun.
Great. Really appreciated it. And now I think we're going to go ahead and start lunch. So.
All right. Thank you.